Hello everybody, welcome to the relaunched Elecspo channel. We're going to be doing a lot of content over this self-isolation period. I think just like the rest of you out there, us on the channel, we're basically bashing FIFA and Football Manager to kill the time during this period with the coronavirus. So what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be looking at over the next couple of months is Football Manager, not only Football Manager 2020, but also some of the older games. So this series itself, it's something that I'm going to be completing, hopefully that is, and that's going to be taking Bolton Wanderers back to the Premier League. It's on Football Manager 2020. I've played the Football Manager games ever since, it sort of relaunched from Championship Manager in 2001. It took me a little while to get to grips with it, to be honest with you. Since maybe FM 12 or 14, I found that there's so much to do on these games nowadays. They're so in detail when it comes to training and hiring and scouting. It can be a bit overkill personally. So it took me a while to get into FM 20, but when you've got 8 hours free in the day to scout the Norwegian second division, then it's fine for self-isolation. So here's the game I'm going to be loading up today. It's Football Manager 2020 and it's Bolton Wanderers. If you're wondering about my guy's outfit, I think Cool Runnings, the film Cool Runnings, was on when I started playing this game, and I was looking at the Jamaican bobsleigh outfit, and that's why this specific outfit was inspired. So let's load this game up, and I'm going to basically take you through my first season with Bolton Wanderers. The aim was to obviously keep them out of relegation in League One. The reason why I picked this challenge is because it's probably one of the hardest challenges you've got on the game, because Bolton start with a minus 12 point deduction because of breaking financial fair play rules in real life. I'm not a Bolton fan, I don't think anyone is, so I was quite happy to basically rip up the team and bring in some new players, work on the youth. Other than the minus 12 point deduction, which is obviously a massive hindrance, also you don't really have any money. I think there was zero in the transfer budget, so it was going to be about loan signings and free transfers. But to be honest with you, that's probably the thing I enjoy the most about Football Manager. If I'm being honest with you, I think finding free players and getting some loan bargains and wonder kids at teams where you shouldn't have wonder kids, that's what Football Manager is all about for me. I don't personally enjoy starting with Manchester United or anyone like that. So this was the perfect challenge for me, and I'm going to take you through our 2019-2020 campaign. Did we survive? Who's progressing? What's the plan for the next season? And what can I give you in terms of feedback for your games? Let's take a look in a minute. Okay guys, so the most important thing, obviously, did we survive the season? Here's a look at the league. Obviously we weren't in the top 11. Where did we finish? I mean, the suspense here is killing everybody. Who went up? So Lincoln went up. Obviously they went up in the playoffs. In terms of the league table, boom, bang, look at that. Did we survive? Yes, we did. We survived comfortably. So we're 7 points off the drop. Gillingham, Accrington and Tranmere Rovers go down. And if we didn't have the minus 12 points deduction, I mean, if I work this out, roughly 30, 42 plus the 42, 55 points we would have finished up with. So that would have, not much difference really. 36. Yeah, so we would have finished as high as 14th, 13th. So, we're a mid-table club in terms of the quality that we've got in the team right now. So next season, the plan probably is to try and finish as high as 10th, I'd say, and then the season after pushing for playoffs. You never know, we might get a banging season and that might all change. Lincoln went up alongside Oxford and Doncaster, and basically we just had some really green spells of form which helped us stay up. If we have a look at the schedule, we just had some patches where we won sort of 3 or 4 games in a row. We had some bad patches here. I think it was the worst stage where we lost 4 in a row, and what's that? 1 win in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. And then things came around. You got like 3 ring. Jesus Christ, what am I saying? 3 wins on the bounce there. Some more comfortable victories down here. And one of the surprising things about this season, not only did we survive the drop, but we actually got to the final of the leasings.com trophy. Obviously that's not the trophy everyone wants to get to the final of. I mean, it's called leasing.com for starters. But yeah, the trophy for the teams League One and below, with the under 23 clubs from Premier Leagues as well. And that kind of actually helped us with our league form. It wasn't actually a hindrance. So when we managed to win in the cup, it usually meant bouncing back with a positive result in the league. So we actually used that to help us with our form. We ended up losing in the final to Oxford 2-1, but the semi-final result, this will sort of changed our season, to be honest with you. We smashed Liverpool under 23s 4-0, which was just a brilliant result. We weren't the favourites for this at all. And from that period, which was February, we kind of really kicked on. From February, there was a period where we had basically a league deciding fixture, if I can find it. And it was this around the Liverpool under 23s. So we had MK Dons away to MK Dons. MK Dons, if you have a look back, they were down with us, so they finished 17th. So we beat MK Dons 4-2, and then beat Liverpool under 23s in the semi-final. And then we happened to lose to Accrington, who did go down. So that spell there was really important for us. If we lost the game to MK Dons and we also lost that semi-final, I think the team morale would have dropped significantly, but it stayed at a sort of even keel when we finished this season with wins against Ipswich, Gillingham, who were already relegated, and then 2 draws with Rotherham and Oxford, who went up. So it was a positive end to the season. So there we go. We finished 16th, 7 points off the drop, 16 wins, which is as many as the teams who finished like 13th. And it was a really positive season. So looking at our team of the year, which I know how to navigate to, here we go. Here's our best 11. In goal, Remy Matthews. He was at the club originally. He'll be our goalkeeper for the next season as well. He's only 26. His stats are decent for League One. There's no reason to change him at all. Left back is Josh Earl, who we had on loan from Preston, and I've managed to ensure we've got him on loan for the next season as well. He was pretty much injured for most of the season, I think half of the season at least, when you started the game. So it took us a while waiting for him to come back, but our form really did improve when he came back. Finished with only 13 appearances in the league, so yeah, he was out for most of it, but he had 6.73 average rating, and he was really sort of progressing as an attacking wing back. So we played 5 at the back with 2 attacking wing backs, Josh Earl, one of them, and the other one Josh Emmanuel. So Josh Emmanuel, I think he's not a wonder kid, but if you look at his sort of potential here, he's definitely got quality for championship level. He's only valued 500k with us. He's wanted by Charlton Athletic. 12 for tackling, 13 for acceleration, 12 for dribbling and crossing, 14 strength. He's got everything that you want for a wing back or full back at championship level, if not more. He's only 22 years old, so I'd definitely recommend him as a signing when you start the game if you're a championship club and you're looking to invest in a young right back. Centre backs. So centre backs, we had Jack Hobbs, who was also at the club. So the whole back 5 actually were a back 5 that I inherited. There was no investment there. Back 6 if you can include the keeper. So the main man was Jack Hobbs. I think he was our most capped player this season. So 38 league games, 44 in total, and playing 44 games with a 6.82 average rating is really good. He's more than good enough for League One level, and he'll most likely play next season, sort of starting every game. In terms of our tactics with this back 5, we had 2 wing backs set to attacking, 1 centre back, Jack Hobbs, just a central defender defend, and then the 2 other centre backs were ball playing centre backs. So they kind of tried to split wide, edge of the box area, so our keeper could roll it out, and we'll play some good football from the back, to be honest with you, and that's something we'll progress in the next season. So the other centre backs, Jake Wright, who is now a free agent. I'm not going to take him on just because he's 34, and I think we're going to try and look at our youth a bit more, but definitely a player that you could get as a free transfer at the end of your first season, and he'd do the job at League 1, League 2 as well. So he's from Sheffield United, and he had a good season for us, sort of solid, experienced head. And then the best player who came through from our youth in terms of defence was Harry Brockbank. He's been sort of touted with some Championship and Premier League clubs as well. He's only 21. He's a ball-playing defender. He's got some good stats. Whether he progresses into like Premier League level, I don't know, but he's definitely going to be one of our best players for Bolton. So midfield and attack, and this is where the team sort of changed a lot from the team that you could look at, Bolton Wanderers, in real life. So 2 in midfield, and we've got Matty Longstaff on loan from Newcastle, and Joe Ledley. Joe Ledley, our captain, our warrior, our king. He was impeccable. So 8 goals in 43 games with 6 assists, and considering he played 39 league games with 8 goals and 6 assists, 4 player of the match, and an average rating of 7.07. So he was on a free. You can see here we got him on a free. He was at Derby before. Now he is more than good enough for League 1 level. If you can get him at your club as any League 1 team, then he's going to be a quality player. His wages were only 3k, which isn't much at all. So yeah, if not a Championship club, you want to get Joe Ledley at your League 1 club. The other best midfielder was Matty Longstaff, who is kind of a bit of a star, especially at League 1 level, valued at 7 million. People will know him from Newcastle and playing in the Premier League. He's also Shawnee Longstaff's little brother, and people think he's probably going to be better than Shawnee Longstaff looking at it right now, depending on their progression. But he's got 18 work rate, good first touch, all right at tackling and finishing. In terms of a box-to-box midfielder, he's got everything for that. He actually started really poorly for us. I think the first 6 games we dropped him down off the bench, and he didn't play at all because he was getting like 6.5 average, but he played well in the cups, and then he sort of cemented his first team spot. We've got him on loan again for next season, and we're paying I think 10% of his wages, which is only 825 quid. Yeah, 10% of his 8,000 per week wages. So to get a player of this quality for only £800 a week is pretty immense. You're not going to find many other players that you can get this level for £800 a week. So again, Championship, League 1 clubs, if you're looking for a loan signing, Matt Longstaff is the boy. So yeah, in terms of next season, the midfield's going to be the same, Matt Longstaff and Joe Ledley. The defence is going to be the same, other than replacing Jack Wright. It's going forward where we're going to have a tinker, because we didn't score that many goals, to be honest with you. If we have a look, we didn't have anyone on the top goal scorer list, I know that. In terms of goals for, so where are we? We are here, 450. So 50. Yeah, no, that's quite a lot. That's more than all the teams below us, and as much as Lincoln, who finished 3rd. So it wasn't too bad actually looking at it, but it didn't feel like we could score a lot of goals. I felt like our chance conversion, we were having like 17 shots per game or more. So I think if we can add some goal scorers into this team, that could be where we can overachieve, maybe push the playoffs if we can add the goals. So I'll show you our problem. So obviously 5 at the back, 2 holding, and then 3 going forward. This is a good signing, Miguel Oliveira. So he is on a free transfer. If you start Football Manager 2020, you can buy this guy on a free transfer. He was at Sevilla B, I think, there. Anyway, we got him on a free. His wages aren't much, I don't think. 4k, so it's alright for League 1. And he scored 7 goals for us, 9 in total, 4 assists, average rating 6.83. So it's a decent signing for a free transfer. He's 24, so he was 23 when he started the game. Obviously his value is now at 675k, so for a team like Bolton where we have no money, I could even think about selling him on. So yeah, he's a decent signing, bit of a fan favourite because he's come in on this first season. We played him as an inverted winger, so we had two wing backs bombing forward, attacking, and then the inverted wingers instead of normal wingers, just so that they weren't sort of taking up each other's space. So Joshua bombing forward, Emmanuel bombing forward, and then the two other inside wingers trying to score a bit more by cutting in from the inside. The other one is Sammy Amiobi, bit of a legend at Bolton, was at Bolton before, so he was at Bolton as soon as 2018-19. Obviously on the game, his Forest career doesn't go very well. I think he's doing okay in real life, so we snapped him up on loan, and he did really well. He scored 10 goals, 13 in total, which Amiobi isn't known for his goal scoring, but I think at League One level you can expect a bit more goals from him, so he's a really good loan signing if you're a League One club. Unfortunately we can't get him again next season, so his contract does expire, and I've tried to approach to sign him a few times, but he's not interested because we can't offer him the wage that he's on. At Forest he's on like 12k, I think 12,000, and our max player, our highest wage player, is on about 4,000, maybe 5,000. So unless his agent comes up and says, look, you can have Sammy, you can have him for a couple k, then we won't be signing him. I would love to sign him because, as I said, he's a bit of a fan favourite and he scored 10 goals. We know he's going to do the job. He's 28, he's kind of in his peak form. But for anyone else out there, League One club, if you've got a bit of wage, or any abroad clubs in second division, look at Sammy Amiobi at the end of your first season, and he'll probably be on a free, and he'll probably be a decent signing. So yeah, that was our front two. And then leading the line was Eddie Brown. So Eddie Brown is a youth player at Bolton in real life and also on the game. In real life, I think he played 5 League One games this season. He didn't score, so he didn't get going. For us, we didn't have any other options up front, so we had to keep playing him. We didn't have any money to buy anyone, and he did progress. He got better as the season went on, and he ended up with 14 goals in total, 10 in the league. So that's double figures for a 19-year-old striker in League One. That's decent. It's given us lots of confidence going forward into the next season. I'm probably going to look at buying another striker if I can, just because we don't really have any competition for him. But if he can continue to improve on 10 goals, if he can get 15 goals this season in League One, then he's going to have a trail of clubs after him. I can see he's already got the little wanted sign on him: Bristol City, Huddersfield, Leeds, Sheffield United, Wednesday. We're going to definitely keep hold of him. He's only on £250 per week. That is the beauty of some of these teams, where if you can get the youth players to break through, then obviously their wages are so minimal that you can offload the oldies, the expensive players, and just have these youth players who are costing next to nothing. So that was our best 11. Realistically, in that 11, we made a new midfield partnership. So there's 2 signings, and then 2 signings going forward. So in terms of the actual best 11, we only added 4 players to that, which isn't much, but the bench is pretty different from what it would be in real life. And we just added some really good squad players who I know could do the job at League One level. Their wages were a bit more than obviously others, but we did a lot of rotation. There's a lot of games in League One, and we managed to progress in the Cup. So on the bench, there's Ben Alnwick, who we actually eventually sold because his wages were high. Zuma's a young player coming forward. Vernon Anita, people will know Vernon Anita. He's been around the block. He can pretty much play everywhere: left wing back, right wing back, centre midfield, attacking midfield if you needed. He can do whatever you want. He's kind of a James Milner of League One at this level, I'd say. That's where he's at. So he's a decent signing for anyone, League One, etc. Again, free transfer, was at Leeds. So that's a decent League One signing. Bridcut was on loan. And this guy, who doesn't love Obafemi Martins? The amount of times I've bought players on the basis that I like them. They're oldies, old but gold, and I've just got a little sweet spot from them. I am a Newcastle fan, and Obafemi also used to play for Newcastle, also a legend at Birmingham. So when I saw him on a free, I think he was injured for like the first 4 or 5 bumps. I don't think he was ready till January. It was a bit of a risk being 34. He's 35 now, but he scored some important goals. He scored 5, 6 in total. Came off the bench mainly, 15 times off the bench. His fitness, is obviously going down because he's 35, but he's a goal scorer. He's got 15 finishing, 14 first touch, 12 composure, 13 anticipation. If you want someone just to bring off the bench for the last 10 or something because you need a goal, Obafemi Martins is going to do the job. He's only on 2.5k. We've got him for next season as well, and then he's going to retire. So, only other pointers I'd make from last season are these 2 players. So, Ronan Darcy, he's a bit of a wonder kid, to be honest with you. I think he's going to be really, really good. He's going to push Matty Longstaff and probably play more games. When you start, he's in the under-23s. He's only in attacking midfield like that. And because that wasn't the system I play in, I had to train him to be centre midfielder and then played him in the cup to play in that position. And he's now obviously completely comfortable in that role, so he should be playing a lot more times in that position. When he's 19, he's got 13 long shots, 13 passing, and 14 decisions for a player who's just 19. He's got a lot of potential, Ronan Darcy, and I'd recommend him as a really cheap signing if I was anyone out there looking for people to sign. And the other one is Callum King-James. Now, this is an odd one because his stats are not good. This is not decent to look at. I mean, especially because these stats were worse at the start. He was literally 17-year-old in the under-18s, I think, or under-23s. I had to try and play someone, find someone. Played a few games, played alright, so I just kept playing him. He's got 14 crossing, which is, I think, why he ended up with the most assists. So his average rating wasn't that good. Average rating 6.67. That's not good at all. But he finished with 10 assists, our most assists for anyone. So I kind of used him more on the bench because I knew he could basically just whip in a ball. He wouldn't play very well, but with 14 crossing, and 15 acceleration for League One, if you've got a player who can cross the ball like that, then last 20 or so, if you're struggling, you're trying to get a goal, he can put it in the box. Callum King-James, he would whip it in, and you've got Obafemi Martins in there who's always going to put it in the back of the net. So it was a good combo to have. I'm going to take a breather, and then we're going to look at our goal of the season, and we're also going to look at my tactics and how I managed to juggle the budget and buy the likes of Anita and Obafemi Martins. So in terms of tactics, this is what I played: 5 at the back and then 4 and 1. The aim was to stay up, so I wasn't going to go gung-ho in terms of formation and things. This season I'm going to press things on, so the wing backs, I know that they can play in this position and they'll be comfortable in that position within a couple of months or so. So I'm going to bring the wing backs up so they're more attacking, keep the midfield the same, pressing forward, because our tactics basically were to have a high tempo and to press when we didn't have the ball. Everyone wants to play like Liverpool, so we just took a smidge of that. We're Bolton, we're not Liverpool, we haven't got their sort of players, but I do want to be good to watch, so be more expressive, try and attack down the flanks as much as possible. That's why we've got inside wingers and wing backs. So all in all, if you're looking for a balanced formation where you're maybe perhaps trying to avoid relegation, you're trying to not concede, so at least you can pick up some draws, then this is a good formation to play. In terms of our squad, so the way obviously I managed to leverage things around and sign some players was simply by offloading the players whose wages were sky high. Other than Jason Lowe, whose contract now runs out, I managed to get rid of everyone whose budgets, whose wages were too high. So if I look at the transfer history here, players out: Craig Noon, that's just before my time. God, they sold a lot of players. Okay, so Will Buckley, Joe Dodu, Ali Crawford. Ali Crawford's on 6k wage. Good player, decent stats, valued at 1.1 million, but we're looking to progress youth and we're looking at players who are going to be on half that sort of wage. So I got rid of him. Got rid of Chris O'Grady. Got rid of Daryl Murphy, who I think had the highest wage. He's a striker who could probably do the job. He's obviously just now retired. But we managed to progress Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones? Eddie, I don't want to get his name wrong again, or else he'll kick off. If anyone can remember, Eddie Brown. Jones and Brown, same thing, too common. Eddie Brown. We wouldn't have been able to progress Eddie Brown if I didn't offload the likes of Daryl Murphy. Ben Alnwick again, played really well, played most of the season, but his wage was really high, so in January West Brom came in, so we just got rid of him. No problem. People I would avoid signing, so most of my signings were good. Jack Rodwell wasn't. I only got him on a year's contract, so he'll be gone. I thought Jack Rodwell was going to do the job at League One. He didn't. To be honest with you, I didn't play him in his favoured position, which is deep line playmaker. I didn't play him in midfield, actually. I was trying to convert him to a centre-back. He had the season to become a ball-playing centre-back. I mean, he had the attributes for it. He can pass, he can tackle, he's played Premier League level. So I thought he could mould himself into a future captain at Bolton. He's 28, 29. But he didn't do that at all. He moaned, he didn't want to be training in that position, etc, etc. So that was a waste of him and my time to have him for a year. Don't sign Jack Rodwell, put it that way. Don't sign any Sunderland players, former or present. Danny Hilton, again, I thought a proven goal scorer at League One level, at least League 2, 21 in League 2, 8 in League 1. I thought he was going to be a decent signing for us. Couldn't get going. His stats are decent, but yeah, he just couldn't get ahead of Eddie Brown, not Jones, or Obafemi Martins. So one season in, one season out, Danny Hilton. Other than that, that was about all the signings I made. I made the most out of the loan system and loaned as many as I can, and all these sort of players you'll see here are youth players that I'm trying to develop. But yeah, that's that in terms of contracts and money. What you got to do is just look at who's on the highest wage and try and get rid of them. I sold them, most of them, for a lot less than their value. One thing I'd never actually clocked onto, which I only learnt for FM20. I might sound like a novice here, and you guys have done this countless times, but I realised in transfers and clauses, you'd have all your clauses on players who you've sold previously, so before obviously your time at a club, and there's a little button here where you could cash in now rather than wait for that clause if it happens. So for instance, Bolton sold what's his name, Arsenal centre back Rob Holding. Bolton sold Rob Holding to Arsenal a few years ago, and he had a clause where Bolton would get I think it was like 5 or 6 million when he made a certain amount of England caps, and because we need the money, what you could do is cash in on that clause. So it was here, it said Rob Holding, I went on it and it said you can buy that clause for, I think it was 2 million instead of waiting for the potential 6. So I did that on him, I did that on Zach Clough as well. So that was a quick way to inject some cash into the club. I did that at the end of the season. And now I've got a whopping 182,000 to spend this season. So yes, son. I mean, who aren't I going to buy with 182,000? So I think that's about everything for this review of the season. As I said, we avoided relegation. We've got the same squad together for the next season, essentially. We're keeping the people that we had on loan. We just need to replace Sammy Omiobi as a left winger. So if anyone's got any ideas for an attacking left winger who could get some goals, please let me know. We need goals, and also a striker to rival Eddie Brown, not Jones.